Men over 60 press these 3 unusual intimacy spots for a bond she's never felt before. If you're a man over 50, have you ever felt that? No matter what you do, the intimacy in your relationship just isn't as deep as it once was? That there's some kind of invisible distance, a gap that you just don't know how to cross? Now, most men chalk this up to just getting older. We're told to believe the problem is a lack of youthful vigor. But after 15 years as a specialist in intimate health, I can tell you that is a complete misdirection. The problem isn't about power, it's about placement. The shocking truth is, 90% of men are focusing on all the wrong spots. But what if I told you the real key was hidden in neuroscience? A fascinating 2023 study from the Kinsey Institute, which analyzed the neural responses in thousands of women, discovered something remarkable. They found that certain, often ignored nerve clusters were 50% more influential in creating feelings of deep emotional bonding than the more obvious areas. This is exactly what happened to a client of mine, a gentleman named James. 68 years old, he came to me feeling his wife had grown distant, almost unreachable. But after I explained just one of the 3 spots we'll cover today, he called me. His voice full of genuine emotion, he said, "Audrey, for the first time in what feels like a decade, I felt her truly just melt in my arms." I'm Dr. Audrey Wells, and in this video, I am going to reveal exactly what those 3 hidden spots are. We'll break down the simple science of why they work, and I'll show you how to approach them with the kind of patience and intention that makes a woman feel truly seen and truly cherished. Alright, so let's begin with the first point of connection, and this one might surprise you, because it's a place of profound vulnerability and incredible power. We're going to start with what I call the heart connection spot. Section number 1, the heart connection spot, the hollow of her throat. Now, the first point, and perhaps the most surprisingly intimate, is that soft, delicate hollow right at the base of her throat where her collarbones meet. It sits directly above her heart. But here is the critical mistake so many well-intentioned men make. They either rush past this spot, seeing it as just a stepping stone on the way to the lips, or they apply too much pressure. They treat it like any other part of the body. In the masculine mind, we often think that more pressure, more intensity equals more pleasure. But with this specific spot, the exact opposite is true. Rushing it or being too forceful sends a subconscious signal of impatience. It misses the entire point of what this area represents. And in doing so, you miss a profound opportunity to build a foundation of deep emotional trust before any other kind of intimacy even begins. So why is this tiny little spot so incredibly powerful? The science here is absolutely fascinating, and it comes down to a critical piece of our internal wiring. This delicate skin, it sits directly on top of one of the most important nerves in the human body, the vagus nerve. Think of the vagus nerve as the master control switch for your body's relaxation response. It's a superhighway of information that runs from the brain all the way down to the heart and gut, and it dictates whether we feel safe and calm or stressed and on guard. When you stimulate this nerve correctly through gentle, caring touch, it literally tells her entire nervous system to switch from a state of alertness to a state of complete receptivity. This gentle stimulation triggers her brain to release a wonderfully powerful hormone, oxytocin. You've probably heard of it. It's often called the love hormone or the bonding hormone. It's the very same hormone that a mother's brain is flooded with when she holds her newborn baby. It creates feelings of trust, of safety, and of deep, profound emotional connection. And this isn't just a theory, the science backs this up completely. Recent studies in the field of affective neuroscience, which is the study of how touch impacts our emotions, have shown this area is incredibly rich with specialized nerve fibers. They're called C-tactile fibers, and these fibers are unique. They don't respond to pressure or pain or temperature. They are designed by nature to respond to only one thing: a slow, gentle, skin temperature touch. The kind of touch that signals safety and affection. So when you touch this spot with intention, you are scientifically signaling to her brain that she is safe, that she is cherished. Now, to make this science really simple, I want you to use an analogy. I want you to imagine that you are about to kiss a soap bubble. That's it. Think about that for a moment. If you move too fast, it will pop. If you press too hard, it will burst. You have to approach it with absolute gentleness, with focused, delicate intention. That soap bubble, that is the level of care this spot requires. Your gentleness is not a sign of weakness. It is the loudest possible signal of your confidence and your respect for her. So, how do you put this into practice safely and effectively? It's a simple 3-part process. First, don't rush. In a quiet moment, simply bring your lips close to that hollow at her throat and pause for a few seconds. Just pause. Let her feel the warmth of your breath on her skin. This small act builds anticipation and shows you are not in a hurry. Next, place the softest, lightest possible kiss on that spot. Remember the soap bubble. It should be an almost weightless kiss. Then hold it there just for a moment, maybe 3 seconds. Feel the pulse beneath your lips. Be completely present in that single moment. You can then gently pull back and perhaps repeat it once more. And now for the final part, the story and the synergy. When you do this correctly, you are going to witness something truly remarkable. You'll feel it. Her shoulders, which might have been carrying the tension of the day, will soften. They will drop. You will feel her breathing deepen, becoming slower and more rhythmic. You'll feel her body almost melt against you. This isn't just physical relaxation. This is emotional surrender. It is a sign of profound trust. And here is a small tip to amplify this effect even further. One of the best times to do this is when you are not face to face. Try it when you come up behind her and gently wrap your arms around her, perhaps while she's looking out a window or standing in the kitchen. In that moment, she is completely enfolded by your presence. She feels secure. And when you then lean in and place that gentle, intentional kiss on that spot, the combination of feeling protected and feeling cherished is incredibly powerful. It's a small adjustment, but it can make a world of difference. It is the foundation upon which all other forms of intimacy are built. And if you find the science behind this, the way a simple touch can build such a powerful emotional bond, as fascinating as I do, I want you to do me a favor. Just type the word trust down in the comments below. It lets me know that this is connecting with you. Now that we've established that foundation of trust, we can move to the second spot. This one is different. It's not about vulnerability. It's about surprise. It's about awakening her nervous system in a way that is both playful and powerfully attractive. This one is what I call the anticipation point. Section number 2, the anticipation point, the inner forearm. All right. Our second spot is hidden in plain sight. It's the sensitive, soft skin on the inside of her forearm, specifically about 2 inches up from her wrist. Now, the mistake here is incredibly common. In fact, it's what almost every man does. And the mistake is simply ignoring it completely. This area of the body is rarely seen as a target. For intimate touch, men will hold her hand, they will kiss her hand. But this specific pathway, this incredibly receptive part of her skin, is almost always overlooked. And that is precisely why it is so effective. Its power lies in its complete and utter unexpectedness. By focusing on a place that has been neglected, you send a powerful, unspoken message. You are telling her that you are interested in discovering all of her, not just the obvious parts that everyone else pays attention to. You are showing her that you are a man of detail, of nuance, and of thoughtful intention. It's a pattern interrupt, and it's a very, very attractive one. So why does this work so well from a scientific perspective? Why does a simple kiss on the forearm create such a unique response? Well, this area contains a very important nerve pathway called the superficial radial nerve. This nerve is part of a network that connects directly to the same neural pathways in the brain that are involved in arousal and pleasure. But here's what makes it so unique. Unlike more direct forms of touch, stimulating this spot doesn't trigger an immediate, localized physical response. Instead, it creates what neurologists call anticipatory pleasure. It's a slow-building wave of excitement, a feeling of what's next. It's a tingle that doesn't stay in one place. It begins to spread slowly through her entire nervous system. It creates a sense of delightful suspense, and the science behind the intensity of this feeling is quite straightforward. Think about it. The skin on the inside of our forearms is rarely touched by anything other than the soft fabric of our clothing. It isn't exposed to the elements like the skin on our hands or face. As a result, the nerve endings there remain incredibly sensitive. They're almost dormant. Neuromapping studies, which map how different parts of the body are represented in the brain's sensory cortex, show this clearly. Areas of the skin that are less frequently stimulated retain a much higher potential for intense sensory input when they are activated. To simplify this, let's use an analogy. I want you to imagine a quiet, still lake at dawn. The surface is like glass. And then the single drop of rain hits the water. What happens? Ripples. Tiny rings of energy that spread out silently across the entire surface of the lake. That single gentle touch on that quiet, receptive surface creates a reaction that travels far beyond the initial point of contact. That is what you are doing to her nervous system. You are creating a beautiful, elegant ripple of sensation. So how do we create this moment correctly? The delivery here is just as important as the location. This works best in a casual, relaxed setting. Perhaps you are sitting next to each other on the sofa just talking. Here is the step-by-step process. First, gently take her hand as if you were just going to hold it. But instead of lacing your fingers through hers, use your thumb to softly turn her wrist upward, exposing the inner part of her forearm next. And this is important. Pause. Look into her eyes for just a second. This brief moment of eye contact before you do something unexpected builds a flicker of anticipation. Then slowly bring her forearm towards your lips. Start about 2 inches above her wrist. Place a series of soft, slow kisses. Moving upwards towards the crook of her elbow, each kiss should be gentle and last for about 2 or 3 seconds. Pause briefly between each one. This allows the sensation to register and build, rather than becoming one single, rushed gesture. Now for the story and the synergy. Many women I've spoken with describe this feeling in a very specific way. They call it electric. They describe it as a series of delightful tingles that don't just stay on their arm, but seem to travel up their shoulder, across their chest, and throughout their entire body. It's a full-body sensation from a single, unexpected touch. It's a jolt to the system. A pleasant, wonderful jolt. And here is a small tip for the synergy. The power of this gesture is doubled when you do it mid-conversation. Don't wait for a moment of silence. Don't wait for a formal, intimate moment. When she is in the middle of telling you a story and she is animated and engaged, gently taking her hand and performing this gesture, while still looking at her and listening, is incredibly powerful. It tells her that your attraction to her isn't separate from the rest of your life, it is woven into everything. It tells her, I am so captivated by you right now, in this moment, that I simply have to show you. It connects the intellectual, the emotional, and the physical, all in one simple, elegant gesture. And if you've never even considered this spot before, if this idea comes as a genuine surprise to you, I'd love to know. Let's have some fun with this one. Just type the word surprise down in the comments. It'll be our little secret. And now we arrive at the third and final spot. I need to be very clear about this one. The first spot was about building trust. The second was about creating delight and anticipation. This third spot, this is about reverence. It is the most physically potent of the three, but it only works when the emotional foundation of the first two is already in place. This is what I call the point of absolute trust. Section number 3, the point of absolute trust, the inner thigh. Our final destination on this journey is the soft, sensitive skin on the inside of her upper thigh, specifically about 4 inches or a hand's width above her knee. Now, the mistake here, and gentlemen, this is a critical, potentially relationship-damaging mistake, is one of timing and of intention. The fatal error is to approach this area too early, before she is completely and totally relaxed and receptive. It should never, ever be a first move, or even an early one. If you try to access this area out of hunger or impatience, it will immediately trigger her internal alarms. It will feel invasive, not intimate. It will break the very trust you have so carefully tried to build. The second mistake is one of intention. Approaching this spot with a sense of conquest, rather than a sense of worship, will destroy the magic before it even begins. So, why is this specific area so uniquely powerful, both physically and emotionally? Let's start with the physical science. Anatomically, this region is known as the femoral triangle. It's a nexus point for the body's most important systems. It is rich with blood vessels, lymph nodes, and a dense network of nerve endings. Most importantly, it is the pathway for a major nerve that originates in the lower spine, the femoral nerve. This nerve and its branches are responsible for sensation throughout the entire pelvic region. When this area on the inner thigh is stimulated gently and correctly, you are essentially sending pleasure signals directly along the same neural superhighway that is involved in the peak of physical climax. The sensations can radiate upwards, creating a slow building, full body arousal that is both intense and deeply connecting. But the physical science is only half the story. The emotional psychology is, arguably, even more important. And for this, we don't need a specific study because it taps into a universal human truth. The inner thighs are one of the most vulnerable, protected, and private areas of a woman's body. For many women, it is also a source of self-consciousness. So, when a man approaches this area not with grasping hunger but with reverence, with a sense of profound appreciation, he is communicating something incredibly powerful without saying a single word. He is saying, I see all of you. I cherish all of you. Even the parts you may feel uncertain about, I find them beautiful and I will honor them. To make this concept crystal clear, let's use an analogy. I want you to think of this area like a sacred, private garden. You can't just barge through the gate. You have to be invited in. And once you are inside, you don't stomp around, grabbing at things. You walk slowly. You admire the beauty. You touch the petals of the flowers with the utmost care. You act like a guest who is humbled and grateful to be there. That is the mindset. You are a guest in a sacred space. Reverence. That is the key. So, how do we put this into practice with the honor and patience it requires? This must only happen during moments when you are already physically close, and she is showing clear signs of relaxation and trust. The process is a slow, patient journey, not a race. First, begin somewhere else. Somewhere safe. Start by kissing her knee. It's non-threatening. It's gentle. Next, from the knee, begin to travel slowly upward along the inner thigh, with a series of the softest, lightest kisses imaginable. Think of them as whispers. They should be light as a feather. Now, this next part is the most important skill for a mature man. You must pay exquisite attention. Watch her body. Listen to her breathing. Does she tense up? Does she pull away, even slightly? If you sense any hesitation, you must stop immediately. You don't make a big deal of it. You just lovingly return to a safer area like her stomach or her hips, reinforcing that her comfort is your absolute priority. But if she relaxes into your touch, if her breathing deepens, if she leans into you, then you can continue that slow, reverent journey upward. And this brings us to the story and the synergy. When this is done with the right intention, with patience and genuine adoration, the effect is profound. It's an act that dissolves insecurity. It can be an incredibly healing experience for a woman to have a part of her body she may have felt self-conscious about be treated with such worship. It is the ultimate expression of acceptance. One of my clients, a thoughtful man in his early 70s named Robert, shared a beautiful story with me. He told me that for years, intimacy had become mechanical, predictable. After learning this approach, he waited for the right moment. He followed the steps. And he told me, Audrey, when I did that, she just cried, softly. They weren't tears of sadness. She told me later that she had never, in her entire life, felt so completely and utterly beautiful. Their entire relationship shifted from that moment. And for the final tip on synergy, the power of this moment is amplified tenfold by what you do immediately after. After you have kissed this area, with such reverence, slowly return your gaze to meet hers. Maintain eye contact. Don't say anything for a moment. Just let your eyes communicate that same reverence and adoration. That silent, loving gaze, it seals the experience. It confirms that the act was not just physical, it was an act of emotional devotion. It is the ultimate way to tell her, I see all of you, and all of you are worthy of love. So, to bring this all together, we've journeyed through 3 profoundly simple, yet powerful, points of connection. We discovered the hollow of the throat, a place to build unshakable trust. We found the inner forearm, a way to create delightful surprise. And we honored the inner thigh, a point of absolute reverence and acceptance. But as I always say, knowledge without action is just entertainment. So here is your simple 3-step action plan for this week. My doctor's prescription, if you will. First, choose just one of these spots. Don't try to be a hero and do all 3. Just one. Second, create a moment. Find a time that is quiet, private, and free from interruption. And third, your only goal is to focus completely on gentleness and on her response. Nothing else matters. Now, I know exactly what some of you might be thinking. Audrey, this feels a little awkward. I might not do it perfectly. And I want you to hear me on this. That initial feeling of awkwardness, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign that you are trying something new and meaningful. Your genuine, sincere effort, even if it's not perfect, will be felt and appreciated far more than any technically perfect but heartless gesture. Because remember what this is truly about. This isn't just about kissing. This is about using the wisdom and patience that comes with maturity to send the most powerful message a man can send. I see you. I cherish you. You are building the foundation for a kind of intimacy that can last a lifetime. The kind of connection that youthful rushing and impatience can never, ever achieve. So if you are ready to build this deeper connection, if you found value in our time together today, I invite you to join our community of men who are committed to this journey. Go ahead and press that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. And just as importantly, go down to the comments right now and write day 1. It's a simple declaration, a commitment to yourself and to her that you are ready to begin. Thank you for sharing your time with me. In our next video, we're going to explore how simple shifts in your daily conversations can dramatically deepen your emotional intimacy. Until then, remember, true intimacy isn't about getting younger, it's about getting wiser. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells, always here for your health and your happiness.